Hey everybody, Brian McCumber here at Tech Money Talks. I want to introduce you to Golden Nuggets. It's a brand new video series where we're going to be doing a deep dive with all the featured guests that have been on the Tech Money Talks podcast, and we're going to dive into the tips and strategies and highlight it for you on a silver platter. I want you to stay to the very end of this video series because it's going to be so awesome, value-packed, and you don't want to miss it. So our first Golden Nuggets video is going to be covering Scott Hilse. He was one of the first professional dropshippers on the Tech Money Talks podcast, and his story is just so amazing. This brother's been keeping it real. He's been keeping it real the whole time. A year and a half ago, he was an Uber driver, and he was one of the first to start Single Product Dropshipping store that created over 6 figures, and he repeated the process over and over again. And by the time that I interviewed him, he's been blowing up into an internet celebrity. So through the podcast, he delivers a lot of value, and I'm going to highlight the top golden nuggets from that podcast. So in the podcast, Scott mentions the most common question he gets from his students are, why should customers buy from you when they could just buy from Amazon or eBay? I'm sure you must be asking yourself the same question with your own Shopify store. Stay tuned and listen to Scott's reply to this question. You know, the single product ad was doing 10 times or more than, you know, having this multi-catalog thing. And I think it's the same thing
That's crazy.
in drop shipping. You know, you got people trying to put a catalog of products out there like they're Amazon. But if people wanted to browse a catalog, they'll just go to Amazon, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like Amazon basically has the stronghold on the catalog sales. And in terms of drop shipping, that's basically what I saw. I mean, I don't want to compete with Amazon. I want to compete with eBay. I want to have my own little thing. So, and one thing you got to understand in drop shipping is you should definitely not cross-examine with Amazon. You should definitely not cross-examine with eBay, because the one iPhone case I sold, it was $3 less on Amazon, and it was actually $10 less on eBay. But guess what? Those two, like people shopping on eBay, people shopping on Amazon, that's not who I'm marketing to. I'm marketing to people on Facebook. So my only competition what I consider competition are the people on Facebook. So that's one thing that can be misunderstood. Like, that's a common question.
True.
Like, I get common questions a lot. And one is like, why would they buy from you when they could just go on Amazon? That's one. Or like, why would they buy from you when they can just go on eBay? Or why would they buy from you when they can just go on AliExpress? Well, at the end of the day, they did buy from me 19,000 times. And it's because of the one product format. You're putting them in, it's a freedom funnel. They click the ad, they see something unique they like. So they click your website. The website's one page, and they like scroll down just a little, and there's the buy button. It's only $10 or $3 shipping. They just like, oh, I want it now. So click buy. Like, you don't want to give them any time to do other research. You want to just like lead them with the buy right off the bat.
So you just heard Scott's response about not cross-examining with Amazon, not cross-examining with eBay. I like to word it like this. It's a difference between calculated buyers and impulse buyers. The calculated buyer will go to Amazon and eBay and actually type out the search for those keywords of the product that they're looking for. So they're going to be searching for the product, and they're looking for the best price, they're looking at the shipping and everything like that. But when we're talking about the impulse buyer, this is the type of person that's going through their Facebook feed or their Instagram feed or their Instagram story, and they're going through there and they happen to see those shoes that are on sale 50% off, and they click on that button to buy now, and they go to your store. They're not price shopping. They see that it's on a good sale and they want to buy right away. So that's called the impulse buyer. So it's the difference between what I call the calculated buyer that goes to Amazon and eBay, and then the impulse buyer that is on your Facebook feed, Instagram feed, or Instagram story. So the next golden nugget that Scott talks about in the podcast is related to viral ads. Now, this is really important because you use viral ads to attract that impulse buyer. So in the podcast, Scott really explains out in detail what it means to have a viral ad and what's really important. So stay tuned and listen to this clip.
Yeah, so the average human attention span right now is, I think, 2.5 seconds. Some people are saying 0.5 seconds, but I honestly don't think it's that low. So you gotta, and that's what actually Facebook measures you on an engagement. Like a 3-second watch is considered engaging. So in those first 3 seconds, you have to have something that will really interest them, not like start your video with like a text question or something stupid like that. You have to have something that's going to grab people's attention in the first 3 seconds. And then the following minute or two should be all very entertaining to keep them there. And that's really important for retargeting, because with Facebook ads, you can actually target people who watch like 95% of your video, 75% or 50% or 3 seconds and things like that. So the more exposure you get, the more views you get, the more you can hone down on your target audience.
So it's really awesome hearing Scott's explanation about viral ads. The key takeaway is about engagement. Facebook will rate what your ad is engaging based on if the customer is looking at your ad for at least 3 seconds. So the first 3 seconds is really important. So you want to make sure that your ads is really capturing the attention within the first 3 seconds. Facebook also monitors the percentage of watches of your video. So if your customer has been watching the video for 50% of the time, or 75% of the time, or 90% of the time, Facebook knows, and you're able to look at that level of engagement. So engagement is key, and that's one of the biggest takeaways when you're talking about viral ads. So the third golden nugget we're going to dive into is a Facebook ad strategy. Scott goes deep into this process of what he uses for a single product store and how he reached that 6-figure level of success. Listen to the next clip to the very end to get all the details.
Most definitely. So you start with a lot of people want to argue with this about me. No, you want to start with the PPE, because the PPE is what gives you feedback, not what you get sales on. It's what's give you feedback on the ad, see if it's good, and it allows you to find what country it's engaging in the most, so you can target that country. You really want to start with the big 5: Canada, United States, United Kingdom, Australia, and New Zealand, and then let the engagement ad decide which one is that. And then depending on how many added carts you have, you'll either go to add to cart or link click. And then say you go to link click, then you wait until you have about 20, 30 added carts a week. And then you can launch your ATC. And then once you have 20 to 30 purchases a week, you can then launch your purchase ad. And purchase ad is the end zone. Like, you guys want to think of it as like a football game. The kickoff is the PPE. The end zone is purchase lookalike audiences. And the reason I strongly emphasize lookalike audiences in all my business, guys, I haven't really used anything besides lookalike audiences in close to a year now. Definitely a year on the iPhone case store. So the reason that is, when you're launching a Facebook ad, you are like using your own brain, and you're like targeting what interests you think will be good. Well, once you get a certain amount of data, you can actually let Facebook's brain do the marketing for you with lookalike audiences. You just have to reach a certain criteria. So I'm not going to pretend that I'm smarter than all of Facebook's entire brain. Like, they know exactly the behaviors, the interests of each individual person. They can spit out a certain number of people that look at most like the amount of people you gave it. So basically the more people you give it, the more accurate your lookalike audience is, which gets you more sales, more data. And then you can remake the lookalike audience. And now you have a whole new, more accurate lookalike audience, which is going to give you more sales, more data. And then that can be used to make a better lookalike audience. And then it just builds like that. So that's what I just like understood that from the very beginning. Like, once I got to that, I can be basically hands-free. Like, I'm not going to lie, it takes a long time to make lookalike audiences. Sometimes I'm making like 150 lookalike audiences and launching every single one, because it'll pay off in the end, not at first. But that's more horizontal scale, and that's way down the line. The way I like to format is like the most cost and time efficient way possible of building a drop shipping business with the one product format. And then you continually scale and scale. And then once you get to a point where it does take a couple hours a night to scale your Facebook ads, then you can actually quit your other job and literally work like maybe 1 to 3 hours a day instead of 9 hours a day. And you're gonna be making a lot more money. And you're gonna be a lot more happy.
No, totally. I mean, that's the rich dad, poor dad cash flow model, and I keep trying to hit on that.
So this part of the podcast was so awesome. This is the actual strategy that Scott uses in his course for his single product store. And like I said, he starts from engagements. And then when you know that you have an ad that's engaging, then you move on to add to carts. And then you're monitoring the stats of the add to carts. When you know you have a good percentage of add to carts, then you move into conversions. And then when you go from conversions, you're watching and you're monitoring the ROAS, and if it's profitable, from conversions, you then move that into what's called Facebook lookalike audience. And Facebook lookalike means that you're actually now running ads to find new customers that look just like the customers that are actually buying your product. And this is where things scale. So if you listen, Scott talks about it. By that point, once you reach a Facebook lookalike, he's just running against lookalike audience all the way through. So you got to earn your way up to that point, and Scott lays it out in the podcast, and he also talks about it in his course. So thank you for watching the Golden Nuggets video. I'm Brian McCumber with Tech Money Talks. I'm actually taking a moment right here, right now in 1871 in Chicago. This is where we host Dropship Chicago. So if you're ever in the area, swing by, look for our meetup events, because we do workshops where we teach people to how to get into dropshipping, and we have monthly events, major events where previous guests on the podcast are coming here live to talk more about e-commerce and dropshipping, and it's really awesome. So if you'd like to hear more, I'd say check out the podcast on Tech Money Talks. You can listen to it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or SoundCloud. And then also check out Scott, because we've been highlighting Scott today. Simplified Dropshipping, Single Product Dropshipping course is just really awesome. So thanks again. I'll talk to you in the next episode.